teeth, we call them fangs, right? And they have claws for tearing flesh because they eat flesh foods, right? And so if we look at the carnivore, the omnivore, they have very sharp teeth because they are primarily carnivorous consuming animals, okay? And then if we look at the herbivore and the frugivore, their digestive, the first part of digestion, in other words, the mouth, is very similar to our mouth and teeth, isn't it? And so if you look at the herbivores, like the carabao, the cow, when they chew their food, they don't chew food like the carnivores. The dogs, the cats, the lion, the tiger, they chew their food like this. And they gulp it down. Whereas the herbivores, like the cow, the carabao, which is a water buffalo, that's what they plow the fields and the rice with in the Philippines and so on. Or?
Horses.
Yeah, horses. When they chew their food, their jaw goes from side to side. And they chew like this. Right? They chew their cud, right? So, and those are pronounced as clean animals in the Bible, okay? But the carnivores and the omnivores are pronounced unclean in the Bible. And there's a reason for that. So the herbivores, they chew their food and they grind the food with the molars in the back of their mouth, just like us. They have molars and their jaws are movable from side to side, just like us. And interesting comparison, if you can fast forward that, my love. Notice the herbivore has a very long intestinal tract, a very long digestive tract, okay? But humans, we also have a very long digestive tract. Did you know that your colon is about 30 feet long? Yeah, 30 feet. It's
The
like
large, small and
it's
large.
like it's almost to the ceiling from the floor. Yeah, it's pretty long. It's just wound up in there. So, you know, it's got a lot of turns and everything. So if you're putting stuff in there that's blocking the passage, no wonder why we have problems, right? Okay? But you look at the carnivorous animals, they have a very short intestine. Because animal food putrefies or becomes rotten at a very warm temperature very quickly. Okay? If I put a piece of meat on the table and I put an apple and a banana and some lettuce on the table, which one is going to stink and become rotten first and be absolutely horrible within 3 days? The meat. So now you understand why God gave the carnivorous animals a short intestine. Because if that putrefies in the intestine, it's going to become toxic and the animal's not going to live very long. And by the way, they do have short lifespans, okay? Carnivores. Whereas the vegetables and the fruit is going to last longer because it's live food. It's not dead food. There's a difference. Okay?
Okay, so again, we're going to look at
so the
what's
point,
the best.
So the point is, in conclusion, based on the slides, we were created by God to be plant-based eaters. By an anatomical design, we were designed to digest plant fibers, period.
Okay, so here's the best food for a healthy gut. And of course, this is, you know, for a vegan, raw vegan diet. So that doesn't mean you have to eat all raw. But notice, I think we talked about it last time we were here. Notice at the bottom will be the leafy greens. We should be eating the part of our diet, the most greens, actually. And I always say this when we do our lecture. What's the strongest and longest living animals?
Elephants. What else?
The monkeys.
Monkeys.
Actually, you know what? It's a shame. The monkeys are outliving humans now. That's sad. That's sad. And there was a turtle. A tortoise.
He lived 200, he's still alive. He's 250
something,
years old.
yes.
Something like that, yeah.
What do they
still
eat?
Alive.
What do they eat?
All green leafies.
All green, mostly green leafies, some fruits, and they all raw, right? That's sad because we were designed to eat that and we have turned away, or we have diverted from the path that God has given us. So now we're suffering from all kinds of sickness and diseases, and our lifespan is now shorter than those animals. So that's the ideal food pyramid. And then, of course, the Eden diet was a vegetarian diet. Look at how colorful and beautiful this looks, right? God has created variety of fruits and vegetables for us to enjoy, but those other stuff, it doesn't actually look colorful, right? Like if you have you ever gone to it's sad actually, if you go to the Philippines and some other countries out in Asia, it's actually good for somebody to go there so that you will see how meat looks like out fresh from the
slaughterhouse.
Yeah, from the slaughterhouse.
So they basically hang it all on these big hooks. You'll have like a whole leg of a pig, and you'll have the head hanging, and they have the liver hanging, and then they got these tubs full of blood and everything. And yeah, because Filipinos cook with blood. They actually eat blood. They cook with it. It makes the food taste good, supposedly. It's gross, but anyways. But the point is, you see all these dead animals, and you're like, oh, that's gross. But you know what? We do the same thing here. We just wrap it in plastic and put a little price tag, and you say, oh, it looks fresh. That's the morgue. You want to visit the morgue? Go to the meat department in the supermarket. Same thing. But in the Philippines, it's in your face. I mean, it's hanging. I don't even like to walk through that section of the market because they call it the wet market, where they have fish and there's water all over the floor and it's muddy and nasty and it stinks and there's flies and everything. And I don't even like to go there. I try to stay on the outside where all the veggies and fruits are. I don't like to go inside because it stinks in there. It smells like death.
But here, of course, we wrap it in nice packages so it's hidden, so it don't look like it's a dead animal.
It doesn't look like a dead body.
But that's what it is. It's a dead body, right?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. But then the fruits, the vegetables is so colorful and looks fresh and refreshing, and just the looks of it is rejuvenating already, right?
Yeah, look at the color. Isn't that beautiful? Isn't that amazing? You've seen fruit salads, got the strawberries, and you have the peaches, and you have the bananas. Blueberries. Isn't that beautiful? But you look at the meat, no color. It's horrible. All right.
Okay, so illnesses do not come upon us out of the blue. They are developed from small daily sins against nature. This is by Hippocrates again. When enough sins have accumulated, illnesses will suddenly appear. So we can say, the cancer disease just fell from the air and it just caught me. That doesn't happen.
Yeah, I caught the cancer bug.
Or a lot of people say, well, my grandfather has diabetes and my father has diabetes, so therefore I have diabetes and I accept it as that. He said, what? You accept the fact that you are inheriting the family's disease? Don't accept that way. Actually, the reason why you have diabetes, just like your father and your grandfather, is because why? Because you were eating the same thing that father and grandfather ate.
They taught you what to eat. That's where you learned your eating habits, was from your parents, right? And so because they were sick, or they had diabetes, or they had heart disease, then you have the same thing because you're following the same program. Now, both my parents had cancer, and I didn't develop cancer because I changed my lifestyle when I was 21. But my parents, they're both dead now, but they had cancer. My dad had heart disease, he had leukemia, my mom had breast cancer, and because their lifestyle, their diet was really bad.
Although, to give it a balance, we do have the genetic disposition to have those diseases, but it's our lifestyle that will feed that genetic disposition.
Yeah.
Either it's going to be turned on or turned off. So it's up to
actually,
us.
literally, they've studied this. Cancer cells have a switch. Okay, cells have a switch. If you feed it certain things, that switch is turned on and it will become cancerous. Okay, that cell will become malignant. It will become cancerous. But if you put plant-based foods into that cell and you feed it the proper nutrients, plenty of water and fresh air and everything, then it turns the switch off and the cancer goes into remission. So it's a known fact in biology that it's not just genetic. These diseases are not just genetic, okay? So it depends on what you feed the body. And we just read that in Ellen White's writings, okay? So let's move on.
Okay, again, this is, let's go back to the healthy colon and unhealthy colon and what it looks like. The person right there shows how his belly was before he did some colonic cleansing and then how it looked like after. So colon cleansing is very important. And in fact, when we do our detox program, that's the first thing we do is clean the colon. Because like what we've already gone over, healthy gut is very crucial in having a healthy body or a healthy life. Look at that. This person did some colon cleansing through juice fasting. We're going to talk about that in a little bit, in a few minutes. And it opened the way for his body to heal what he had. He had...
this is late-stage diabetes with
yes.
neuropathy, which is lack of blood flow and circulation, deadening of the nerves in the outer extremity. And oftentimes they get ulcers, like what you see on the feet on day one. And it was open ulcers, a lot of blood and pus coming out. And oftentimes this happens to people who are sick because they're not moving their bowel 2 to 3 times a day. And so what happens is the body will use the feet or other extremities as a second bowel to try to dump that poison out, and it comes out through the skin. So this is something that often happens. But notice what happens when this person did juice fasting and cleansing of the colon. It opened the way for the body to heal. A 7-day juice fast with cleaning out the intestine, that's the result. Complete tissue regeneration. Isn't that amazing?
So how do we do colon cleansing? We can do it with an
There's
enema.
several ways. Yeah,
several ways. An enema bag. Years ago, most people, most homes know about enema. Nowadays, nobody even knows nobody even knows what it looks like. So that's an enema bag. And in fact, it's sad that before we can buy one right out of Walmart for so cheap.
But not anymore.
But now we can't find. It's hard to find
You have to
enema
buy them
bags
online now.
So
Yeah.
because we're a nation of constipation.
Yeah. Somebody's
So
trying to keep
our
us plugged up.
society wants us to be constipated. In fact, Dr. Scholl says that even our common toilets, they're not designed for people that go 2 to 3 times a day. That's why when you do a convention or a seminar and you have a bunch of people,
Toilets get backed up.
Toilets always get backed up.
Yeah.
Right?
That's right.
Because people are supposed to go once a week, once every other day, twice a week.
Right.
So what is another way to clean the colon? Through a colonics or colonic irrigations. So there are places that offer that for a fee, or it's actually quite expensive. So if you know how to do it yourself at home through an enema or some other form of colon flushing, then that's better. So like this person here, they went through a cleanse with us in the Philippines. That's our colonic board actually. So we have one, somebody donated, a friend of ours donated us that colonic board, and we shipped it to the Philippines, so we use it when we have programs.
Okay, so how do we cleanse the body? How do we clean out the intestine? Again, cleaning out the intestine, we use water, goes into the rectum, and then the fecal material comes out, and it cleans out the intestine. We do usually 2 to 3 bags of lukewarm water. And then one of the best ways to clean out the body and rejuvenate the immune system is through fasting, okay? Now, how many of you have heard of Bragg's liquid aminos, Bragg's apple cider vinegar? They sell it in the stores, right? Well, Paul Bragg was the founder of the company. He was a health crusader, and this man taught a lot of people about the benefits of a healthy lifestyle, which included a plant-based diet, exercise, and even fasting from time to time. We know that fasting is mentioned 74 times in the Bible. Fasting puts the body in a condition where all the vital force of the body is used to flush out the causes of body miseries, he says on page 177. Now it's interesting that Ellen White, in her book Ministry of Healing, talked about fasting. I'm sorry, this is Counsels on Diet and Foods, page 310. And I believe this same statement is found in Ministry of Healing, page 143 as well. I may be wrong on that, but anyways, she says, in many cases of sickness, the very best remedy is for the patient to fast for a meal or two. What do we call that? What would that be called in today's terminology if you skip 1 or 2 meals? What is that called?
Yes.
Intermittent fasting. Exactly. That's right.
Imagine only now science is finding out about this. And Sister White talked about this in Counsels on Diet.
100 years ago.
100 years ago.
So the very best remedy is what? Run to the doctor and get a drug? No. It's for the patient to fast for a meal or two. Now, I'm not against going to the doctor for a diagnosis and everything, but this is a simple way of approaching disease, okay? That the overworked organs of digestion may have an opportunity to rest. Number 2, a fruit diet for a few days has often brought great relief to brain workers. Who are brain workers? Meaning people who don't do physical activity. Maybe an office worker, somebody sitting in front of the computer all day, programming software, etc. These are people that are called brain workers. So if they are not feeling well, if they will just eat fruits, nothing but fruits for a few days, it will help their body to recover. Okay? So that's another type of fasting. We call that fruit fasting. And number 3, many times a short period of entire abstinence from food, followed by simple, moderate eating, has led to recovery through nature's own recuperative effort. So a short period of entire abstinence from food. We can call that juice fasting, or we could call it water fasting. There are 2 different kinds. So if you're not eating food, you can drink nutrients in the form of liquid juices like carrot apple juice, celery with kale and cucumber and stuff like that. Yeah. Or you can do water fasting. And we usually do a 4-day juice fast. We do a 4-day juice fast with colon cleansing, and then we do 1 day of raw foods. You'll have fruits and salads only. And then you'll go back on another 4-day juice fast, and then you'll do another day of raw food, and then you're done. That's a cleanse. We do this entire abstinence from food because we have found that people recover much quicker and the body heals faster when it's denied food, when we go into fasting mode, okay? What happens to your dog when he gets sick? What does he do? He stops eating, and then what do you see him doing out in the grass? He's eating grass. Why is the dog... First of all, let me ask you a question. Who told the dog to eat grass? God did. Why did God tell the dog to eat grass? Do you know why? Because chlorophyll, which is the liquid green stuff, the pigment of the plant, the chlorophyll heals the body and the digestive tract. And God knows that. That's why he told the dog and the cat when they get sick to go eat grass. When you get sick, what do? We go to McDonald's. Just give me instead of 2 cheeseburgers, I'll eat 1. And I'll skip my shake and I'll just have French fries. Wrong. You get the point? So if we will do fasting, what happens when you get a fever? Do you eat when you get a fever?
No.
Your desire for food automatically goes away. Excuse me, my feet are sore. Those shoes are not too comfortable after a few hours. So anyways, so when you have a fever, the brain shuts down the digestive system because it knows there are more serious issues to deal with, and you don't need food right now. We need to do some cleansing here. And so it's nice to drink like a hot lemon drink or some hot ginger tea or some hot herb tea when you're sick, right? But you couldn't think of eating, mashed potatoes with a big salad. No way. It's like, ugh. You know what I mean? And God designed us that way. It's automatic. You don't even consciously think about it. You just automatically don't want anything to do with food, sometimes for 2 or 3 days, right? If you're really have a fever and you have a nasty flu and you're in bed and you just want to drink warm water and just sleep, right? Well, what we are doing is we are inducing the body into a regenerative mode through fasting. Now, let's look at this
science.
article. Go ahead, honey.
Science has found this out already, only recently. So according to their research, intermittent fasting periods do more than burn fat. So a lot of people, they do this because they want to lose weight. But it does more than that, actually. When changes occur with this metabolic switch, it affects the body and brain. So one of the Matson studies published in the New England Journal of Medicine revealed data about a range of health benefits associated with the practice. These include a longer life, a leaner body, and a sharper mind.
Notice the connection between the physical and the spiritual. A leaner body and a sharper mind.
And then this next one says, many things happen during intermittent fasting that can protect organs against chronic diseases like type 2 diabetes, heart disease, age-related neurodegenerative disorders, even inflammatory bowel disease, and many cancers.
And this is taken from Johns Hopkins Medicine.org website. This is right from Johns Hopkins, okay?
Okay,
next
so
slide.
that shows how intermittent fasting is very effective.
These are some of the benefits.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Thinking and memory. Studies discovered that intermittent fasting boosts working memory in animals and verbal memory in adult humans. Heart health. Intermittent fasting improved blood pressure and resting heart rates as well as other heart-related measurements.
And for physical performance, they found out that those who fasted for 16 hours showed fat loss while maintaining muscle mass. And mice who were fed on alternate days showed better endurance in running. So this is why a lot of people, actually there's a lot of people out there now who are doing or are practicing intermittent fasting. I've met so many people, I've heard of so many people, and they're doing it. And then for type 2 diabetes and obesity, they've shown through their studies in animal studies that this prevents obesity and they lose weight during intermittent fasting.
And it lowers their fasting glucose levels. Fasting insulin and leptin while reducing insulin resistance. It decreases levels of leptin and increases levels of adiponectin. Certain studies found that some patients practicing intermittent fasting with supervision by their doctors were able to reverse their need for insulin therapy. Now, we have taken diabetics many, many times over the years who are using insulin or taking pills, and we put them on a fast, and guess what happens to the blood sugar? It goes right down without medication. We're talking about people injecting insulin, people taking pills. Their blood sugar becomes normal, usually within 3 days of fasting. We have seen this over and over. And then when we feed them, the blood sugar remains normal. And then when we fast them again, it's still normal. They're off all the medication. And as soon as they go and they eat animal food, guess what happens to the blood sugar? Goes right back up through the roof. There's your diabetes again. Now you know what causes diabetes. Okay. Along with other factors.
So Sister White talks about eating 2 meals a day.
Intermittent fasting.
And it's actually intermittent fasting. So she says, most people enjoy better health while eating 2 meals a day than 3. Others, under their existing circumstances, may require something to eat at supper time. But this meal should be very light. Let no one think himself a criterion for all, that everyone must do exactly as he does. So,
let me ask you, how many of you have read Counsels in Diet and Foods? Good. Okay. Please download the writings of Ellen White and read this book. This book will save you literally millions of dollars. Literally. Did you know that one cancer patient represents $1 million to the cancer industry? That when you have chemotherapy, surgery, and radiation, your medical bills are going to go over $1 million. Okay? So, if you want to save money and you want to save yourself from a lot of suffering, read the Spirit of Prophecy and what God has to say about health. And you're going to prevent these life-threatening chronic diseases and a lot of suffering as well. I've seen a lot of people die of cancer, and it's a very ugly thing to watch. And it's very, very sad. But this need not be, brothers and sisters. We should be the healthiest people on planet Earth. But notice, she says if we eat 2 meals a day rather than 3, we'll have better health. Now, some people require 3 meals a day. If you're a carpenter, if you're an electrician, you're involved in construction, you're a farmer, you're doing a lot of hard physical activity, you need 3 meals a day, okay? But if you're not doing those hard physical activities on a regular basis, then 2 meals a day is better. I've been eating 2 meals a day for 38 years since I became a Seventh-day Adventist. And how did I learn that? By reading this book, Counsels in Diet and Foods by Ellen G. White. I said, oh, God wants us to eat twice a day? Okay, done deal. And by the grace of God, I was able to, and I eat plenty, but if I'm working on a farm, because we have a farm in the Philippines, we live in the country, if I'm planting a lot of fruit trees or working long hours, doing hard physical activity, I'll eat a 3rd meal. Sometimes I'll eat fruit in the evening, but very seldom. Usually we eat our first meal of the day around 11, and we'll have our dinner around 5 or 6. Then that's it. So by the time we have our last meal of the day until we eat our next meal, it's been more than 12 hours. We are actually practicing as a lifestyle intermittent fasting, as a lifestyle. And that lifestyle came through inspiration of the Spirit of Prophecy. Very powerful.
Okay, so during your fast, you can do juiced fast so that it's not too hard instead of just water, because water fasting is very hard. So you can do juices instead. Juice fasting, different kinds of juice. Carrot apple is a good one. Spinach, carrot, celery, red juices, that's good. Sugar beets, carrots, and apple, that's red. Or tomato juice, tomatoes with carrots, that's a good juice also.
Okay, University of Southern California came out with an article years ago. They did a study, and according to the study, they studied mice and humans who are doing chemotherapy, and they found out that when they fasted them, they had better health. Now notice, it says here, when you starve, in other words, when you're fasting, the system tries to save energy, and one of the things it can do to save energy is to recycle a lot of the immune cells that are not needed, especially those that may be damaged. Longo said, when we started noticing in both our human work and animal work, is that the white blood cell count goes down with prolonged fast. Blood cells come back. So we started thinking, well, where does it come from? Basically, when you fast for a prolonged amount of time, your body uses the stored glucose, fats, and produce ketone bodies that are especially good for your brain to keep you going. And you flush out anything that your body doesn't need, like damaged cells and toxins. And going on, he goes on to show that stem cells are switched into a regenerative mode through fasting. And it gives the okay for stem cells to go ahead and begin proliferating and rebuild the entire system. And then he goes on to say, excuse me, that the good news is that the body gets rid of the parts of the system that might be damaged or old, the inefficient parts during the fasting. Now, if you start with the system heavily damaged by chemotherapy or aging, fasting cycles can generate literally a new immune system. Think about that. Fasting can generate literally a new immune system. And the immune system is what keeps you in what's called homeostasis, meaning health. Okay? So
we've seen this over and over
God
again.
God knows what he was talking about when he told Ellen White to write these books on health, and when God gave us the book of Genesis and the other passages in the Bible that talk about the benefits of following the original diet. And here are some of the other benefits of fasting. It gives the digestive system a rest. What else?
Can help you beat addiction. So people that are addicted to alcohol, to cigarettes, fasting really makes miracles.
We've had people who were chain smokers, In 10 days, they no longer crave cigarettes because they fasted 8 of those days. We put them in the steam bath. They sweat all this poison out. We're flushing the intestine. They're drinking lots of juices. They're urinating poisons out. And their body gets cleaned and purged of these addictive substances like nicotine and the drugs they put in the cigarettes. Anyways.
Great way to start a healthy diet. Normalizes insulin sensitivity, can reduce your hunger levels, promotes the detoxification process. It whitens the eyes and clears the complexion. So one indicator, actually, if you have good health, is the eyes, the whites of your eyes. It should be very white. Can reduce high blood pressure. It can boost the immune system. Mm-hmm. And we're not going to go through this, but we're going to just tell you that Joel Furman is a medical doctor that actually puts his patients on fasting. And so he found out that instead of doing surgeries and other invasive procedures for heart diseases, he found out that putting his patients on fasting actually cures their heart diseases.
And he says that there are no cures. The current medical treatments not only have risks, but also represent a Band-Aid type of approach. They can offer relief from symptoms, but they cannot cure because they do not address the root of the cause. Under modern medicine, the incidence of most chronic diseases has increased, and the vast majority of people are still dying from what are preventable diet and lifestyle-induced illnesses. This is what the medical doctor is telling us.
Yeah.
Because he realized after years of giving drugs and all of that his patients weren't getting well. And he learned about diet and exercise and the benefits of fasting. And he's like, wow, this is amazing. And yet God told our church 100 years ago all of this before he even gave it to these people who don't even know about spirit prophecy. So now we're going to share, as we close, some testimonies of people that have been through a fast. We do supervised fasting programs. We do a cleanse program in the Philippines. We also do cleanses here in the United States when we have enough people interested. But this man came to us. He had eczema from head to foot. He had rashes and so itchy. He said, I can't even sleep. I'm itching all night. My whole body is full of itchy, you know? And we put him on a cleanse. We put him on a fast. And he completely recovered. Now his skin is completely clear of all eczema. Clean out the liver, clean out the colon, clean out the bloodstream, eat the right food, keep the toxins out of the body, drink plenty of water, sunshine, fresh air, go to bed early, and this is what happens. This young man had 2 strokes at 26 years old. He was walking like this. I put him on a fruit fast for like 4 days before he even went through a cleanse. When he came to our place to go through a fast, he was walking like this. Brother James, look. I said, you see? You know what his diet was? Hot dogs, hamburgers, chicken, fried foods. No veggies and no fruits. All animal food. He was killing himself and he didn't even know. This lady had nasopharyngeal cancer. Went through our program just before we left the Philippines. This was in late September, I think she went through the program, or was it October? It was October, wasn't it?
No, September.
Late September last year. Post-nasal drip, migraine headaches, lots of pain, lethargy, fatigue, and on the second day of fasting, she couldn't even get out of bed. I said, oh, what's the matter? She said, oh, I feel terrible. I said, okay lang, don't worry. So I give her some herb tea. She did a colon cleanse. She did a coffee enema. I know that sounds weird. That's another topic. But we cleaned out the liver. And she was, oh, the pain is gone. My headache is gone. I have energy. I feel great. No more migraines. No more post-nasal drip. And the tumor is shrinking because she's practicing the program that God gave to our church. And she's not an Adventist.
Jan has breast cancer, and she changed her lifestyle somewhat before she came to our place because we didn't have a program at that time when we met her in Palawan, where we did Bible and health evangelism for 10 days, 10 nights. And so she started practicing what we taught her while we were there. And then later on, a few weeks later, she came to our place for 10 days. And now she's doing good. And actually, the tumor is gone. She found out an herb also in the Philippines
Yeah.
that she applied on it, and it actually pulled the tumor out of her breast.
The breast opened up like a big hole, and the tumor came out. Not immediately, but it took a few weeks, but it came out. And then the hole closed back up. She kept putting, some natural herbs and stuff, and it's gone. The tumor's gone.
But she still had pain when she came to our place.
Yeah.
So after coming to our place,
The pain went from 8 to about 2, she said.
but now there's no more pain.
Yeah, no more pain. She's doing great.
So
All right. These people, they went through the cleanse. The man on the far right is a pastor. He got migraine headaches and lethargy after taking the COVID-19 vaccination, and no health problems before that. And during the cleanse, he improved a lot. His blood pressure went down. The lady next to him, to his left, also high blood pressure normalized. The lady to the left of them had all kinds of health issues. She's actually our daughter-in-law's mother, and she is greatly improved, and she's doing really well. No more health issues. So here they are breaking a fast with raw foods. So now, as we close this lecture, we're almost done. Bear with me. Maybe 5 more minutes, we're finished. And then we'll do our food demo in the kitchen.
actually,
okay?
we can have question and answer before we
Right.
work with them.
So this is a simple fasting program. This is something you can do at home. Excuse me. It's just a 3-day juice fast. So some of the juices that you can make are carrot apple juice. Green juices would be like romaine lettuce, cucumber, celery, green leafy lettuce, maybe some unripe pineapple for diabetics. If you're non-diabetic, you can use ripe pineapple because it is sweet. Vegetable juice would look like carrot, apple, cucumber, tomato, celery, cilantro, or parsley. And during a fast, you want to drink 8 ounces of juice every hour throughout the day. And you drink water and herb teas in between your juices. You can take a picture of that if you're photographing it. Okay? And after each day of fasting, you take an enema with lukewarm water in the morning to cleanse and detoxify the colon. We usually do about 2 to 3 bags of water. You'll do, some water in, poop out, water in, poop out, until you go through 1 bag of water, then you do another bag or 2. So 2 to 3 bags of water to clean out the intestine. And that's very essential and it's very necessary, especially after fasting. And then when you break the fast, do not eat cooked food after fasting for 3 or 4 days. That's a big mistake, and you'll be very sorry if you do that. I'll tell you why. Because your stomach shrinks when you're fasting, and if you put a bunch of cooked food into your body, you're probably only going to be awake for another 30, 40 minutes, and you're going to go right to sleep. Because your body is not used to digesting cooked food anymore at that point, and it's better for you to break your fast with juicy fruits like watermelon, honeydew melons, cantaloupe, stuff like that, papaya, mango, etc. And you can have just a little tiny bit of oatmeal, a real small portion of oatmeal.
Raw. We're going to show them later
we'll show you how to do that in just a minute. And then for vegetable, for lunch, you would have a large raw salad. It could be kale, lettuce, cucumber, tomatoes. You can put some onion, lemon, salt, olive oil. If you are not diabetic and you don't have heart disease, olive oil is fine. But if you have a degenerative disease, skip the olive oil. Do not use oil. You can have veggie sticks, celery, carrots, cucumber, etc. So here's our contact information if you have questions about the lectures or any other issues. And now we'll open up for question and answer as we close before we do our demo. Any questions? Okay, don't everybody rush to the front of the line.
I can put this back in case somebody wants to.
All right, so if you need to take a picture, she'll start it back at the first slide on the fasting, okay? No questions? Everything clear? We used to actually because we live in the Philippines, we just buy them there in Manila. There's the typical pharmacy doesn't really sell them. Some pharmacies do, rarely. There's one in particular that usually has plenty in stock, so we buy like 3 or 4 at a time.
Walgreens
but-
sometimes still has.
But yeah, sometimes they're
It's a
kind of
little
expensive.
bit more, yeah.
You can buy them on Amazon.
Amazon.
Just buy them on Amazon. It's a lot cheaper. It's the same exact thing, and it's a lot cheaper. I haven't actually looked, but I'm intending to purchase a few before I leave because we need some. So, and it'll be convenient instead of having to go all the way to Manila and everything, which is a 3.5-hour drive. Although I wouldn't drive 3.5 hours just for that. But sometimes we have to do errands like that all at once. You know, parts for the car, shopping for certain items that we can't find where we live, and we have to do that all and try to get it done in one day. But anyways, okay, so any other questions? Anybody? Yes?
Yes.
Oh, okay, so I think what you're talking about is this. Let me go back here. Are you talking about this?
Yeah.
Okay, so this particular
this
device.
That one also.
Yeah. So let me show this first. Okay, so first of all, there are 2 ways of cleaning out the colon. The process is the same, but the method is a little different. Okay, so let me explain. So an enema bag, you basically put water, lukewarm water, in the bag, and then you
Hang it.
and then you hang it on the door. You insert the tip, and it has a little lock there. You pinch the hose. It keeps the water from flowing. Once you've inserted you put some Vaseline on the tip and insert it into the rectum, and then open up the valve to let the water flow out of the bag. So that's one way of doing it, okay? Now, this thing here, that's called a colema board, a colonic board. Now, the idea is, what they do is, in using the device, of course, you can see they would lay their head here, they put their feet here, and then they shove their rear end up against the thing. And then in the back, there's a tube that comes from that bucket. There's a tube that goes in the back, and it has a tip on it. And so they would slide up to that and slowly insert that into the rectum, and then they would open the valve, and the water would flow out of a 5-gallon bucket. Lukewarm water, of course. And so a 5-gallon bucket, so basically what happens is water in, poop out, and it goes right into the toilet, then water in, poop out. You don't have to stop. You just lay there until the whole 5 gallons has gone through your system. Okay? So water in, poop out, water in, poop out. And eventually it's just water in, water out, water in, water out. That means your intestine is clear. You've gotten everything out, okay? So that's another way. Now what we did is we combined...
The enema, you have to get up and down.
Yeah, because in using an enema, you lay on your side or you lay on your back on the floor in the bathroom, and then you do it that way. But we use the colonic board as an easy way to lay down over the toilet in case somebody has an accident. Then it'll just go into the toilet. So that's what we use that for. So we combine the two. We're just using the board as a place to lay down. Yeah. But we don't usually do the 5 gallons of water, although I've done that many times over the years. But we usually just do an enema bag with lukewarm water, like 2 to 3 bags, okay? So that would be about 1 gallon of water is what we would use altogether, okay? Did that answer your question? No, a colonoscopy is where the physician has this big long device. It's kind of like a snake, you know, and then they on the end of it is a camera, and so they put that in the rectum of the patient, and then it goes all the way up inside the intestine. They shove it slowly up in there, and that way they can see if there's any polyps or tumors in the intestine or whatever. And that's basically a camera that goes all the way up inside the intestine to see what the inside of your intestine looks like.
They do make you drink this liquid stuff before you do a colonoscopy, so that way it will clear your colon.
Yeah, it makes you poop and basically almost have like diarrhea and everything comes out. And then once that's cleared out, then they stick the camera up in there. And I think, I'm not sure if they put you to sleep. I think they do use some kind of anesthesia for that procedure. But there have been a number of individuals who have had punctured intestines as a result of those procedures. So it can be risky. Although they don't advertise that, I know people who have had problems with those. So not really a good idea, in my opinion. But again, that's up to each individual what they're going to do. But yeah, that's different. It's just a procedure to see what's going on inside the intestine. Yeah. Okay? Yeah. So shall we close with a word of prayer, and then we'll go ahead and proceed to the kitchen where we're going to do our food demonstration, and Daryl's going to lead us in that. So shall we pray? Father in heaven, again, we thank you for this Sabbath day, for this time together, an opportunity to learn more about how to take care of our bodies and what to do when we get sick. So please guide us, we pray in Jesus' name. Amen. Okay, so we'll proceed to the kitchen, and we'll all gather there as we prepare everything.